was a fire intro, wasn't it? That was created by Dragon Lores. He is very talentedly tachaloshes. He's a talented man of the musical creation. He done diddly done did da 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 that. So sit back, relax, have a good time. Maybe you're in your car or maybe you're on your bed. Wherever you're at, grab your cat and start petting it because I hope this episode is enjoyable for you. What is up, Loveworks podcast? Here we are, episode 1, season 1 title, Let's Talk. I'm here with my buddy Austin Shields. This is a good episode.
What's up, dude?
Man, yeah, what is up?
This is like the third time we've tried recording this.
Yeah, I know. I'm realizing how bad I am at this.
It's okay. It happens, dude. Like, podcasting is always about running with the punches.
Right. Maybe I should get canceled. If I got canceled, then I wouldn't even be able to use this anymore.
I think if you get canceled, you'd actually get some money. You know what I mean? Like, you'd actually get a sponsor or something like that.
Right. That would be really cool.
That's how most people are doing it now. And Joe Rogan's been canceled like 4 times. That's why he's the most podcasting man in the world.
Yeah, no, I really like Joe Rogan. He's a cool guy.
I know. We've talked about that.
Yeah, so some of my favorite podcasters, I would say, is like Joe Rogan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's it.
You like Andrew Tate, probably.
I don't mind Andrew Tate. I'm not a huge fan. Not gonna lie, but
I'm not a huge fan of either of those guys. Just
yeah.
don't really drive them that much. I like a lot of podcasts though.
Yeah, I listen to
the Sauce Boys a lot, actually.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. So the Sauce Boys podcast, we used to have a podcast together.
Yeah,
so
we did.
Let's hear about it. Tell me some.
We traveled on the road. How many years? 2 years? Yeah. No. We just traveled 1 year?
Maybe. Yeah, it was just 1 year we worked. So we traveled with the ministry. Yeah, you want to talk about that too?
We can.
Yeah, go ahead and throw it out there.
So we travel with Life Action. It's a ministry that travels around the country and grabs a team of 20-something-year-olds. And basically, we just do conferences for churches. We just take over the church for a week, do services every night. We usually just allow everyone to kind of be ministered to. And really, our whole goal is to create an atmosphere for people to kind of just we don't bring the Lord, but we always say, like, it just creates an atmosphere of people to understand what Scripture says and leaning on Him as much as possible. And so we traveled on the road together for a year, and it feels like I've known you for about 8. So, and we started a podcast because we both really like food a lot and talked about food. We talked about food every time we'd stop somewhere. We talked about how much we love sauce and like specifically. So we started this idea, like, what if we talked about sauce only?
Yeah.
What if it was the only thing we talked about on a podcast?
That was great. So, yeah, I remember we even talked about this today. Like, so Austin, he's newly married.
Mm-hmm.
Relatively, it's probably a year now.
No, not even.
Wow, that's crazy, man. I remember your wedding.
Yeah.
Full transparency. You want to hear something really fully transparent?
Yeah.
Like, are
You're
you gonna get really mad if I tell you this?
No.
I told you that the name of the season's Let's Talk. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna be really real.
Yeah.
The day before your wedding, I got like really drunk. Did you hear about this?
No, I didn't. Oh no, I did because you and Zach told me actually.
Yeah, we got like really drunk. And matter of fact, we were just talking about cigars a moment ago, but like I remember I got so drunk that I was inhaling cigars. I was just like, I probably had like 5.
Which is awful.
Yeah, I probably had like
awful
5
for your
of
body.
them.
Me and Brandon kept telling you, like, it's awful for your body. Like, we worry
Right.
about you.
Well, I don't even like. It was just one of those days that it was like, oh yeah, we're just gonna have a couple of drinks and stuff, and another night we'll drink some more.
I think it's funny to also call out Zach McIntyre in this thing too. Just
Oh,
say his
talk about
full
his
name. Just say his. And you can bleep it out if you need to, but that's
No.
his full name.
I'm not bleeping. So there's a lot of people's names I'll bleep out, but Zach will be like, come on, that was me. I know. We got like we drank a lot.
Yeah, I remember you told me that.
And so, but we didn't drink so much that like we ruined the next day.
No, you guys were great.
And
You guys
so
were great.
We just, I remember we got so drunk that I was in the man, I'm gonna get. This is supposed to like I mentioned. If you follow our social media, this is not a Christian podcast. I need you to know that because I'm gonna say things on here that are like controversial. I got like super drunk and I was like, man, dude, Zach. I was like, I've got to go to the bathroom bad. Like I was like about to poop my pants. and we were
at the wedding?
No, this was at the trailer park.
Oh yeah, you guys were staying.
He brought his trailer and he just parked there. And he was staying the night there, and I was like, "Hey, I'll come over. We'll smoke a cigar, and then we'll roll out, because it's just a social thing."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Dude, I gotta go to the bathroom bad." And so I'm like stumbling over to the bathroom. There's like a kid walking by next to me, and I remember I was like, "What up, buddy?" And I just kept on walking, but like I was clearly drunk, and this kid's probably like really weirded out because I don't even know. I might have been crawling on all fours. I don't even know. And so I get to the bathroom, and I have a cigar still in my mouth. I'm sitting on the stall. Didn't even close the stall door. I just the stall door's wide open. There's like puffs and clouds of smoke just coming out of the stall.
So dumb.
Yeah, dude. And there's more to the story, but you want me to just let Zach's business out there?
100%. I think.
Okay.
I think if this podcast isn't letting all of Zach's stories out right, like at the beginning, what is this about? You know what I mean?
So yeah, I'll tell you. So Zach, you can't convince me. Zach, he came in and he was like, "Yeah, I gotta pee now too." And so he like pulls his pants down and he pees in the drain.
No, in his own trailer?
No, this isn't in the trailer. This is a community bathroom.
Zach McIntyre.
And well, it doesn't help that I'm puffing cigar smoke out. My buddy AJ's with us. I'm not gonna say his last name. It's the weird though. And he
we're truly calling everybody out.
He comes in and he's like, "This is the funniest thing ever." Like AJ actually stuck to all the rules that we had because it was like, "Yeah, we'll have a cigar and we'll have a drink." AJ, that's all he did.
Yeah.
The rest of us, we didn't just do that.
Got stupid. Yeah.
Also, I didn't realize the fact that that you said the time frame of when this happened, like when your wedding was, and now everybody knows that like 6 months ago I got absolutely plastered.
That's true.
Yeah, that's okay.
Wait.
Let's cut this episode.
You want to cut? You want to cut it? You want to switch it up? Find something else?
No, dude. It was just. I think that's a real thing. Like people like. I'm by no means an alcoholic. I don't drink very often, but there are times where I've drank way too much.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. I called you one. There was one day I went to the club and we got I got messed up, man.
Yeah.
I did some stupid stuff.
Well, yeah, and what I like when you talk about it is you're open, like, man, I shouldn't do that. Like, I gotta quit, and you ask for a lot of accountability with that stuff too, which I'm really thankful for. Like you just realize like it's just not it's not healthy for you, and two, like it's just not good for your mindset. It's not good for anything really. Like it doesn't help anything. So, and I've never been like I've done a lot of stuff I shouldn't do, and I still do a lot of stuff I shouldn't do. And so I think the whole mindset of like figuring out that if I was to talk down about it in a way that made you feel bad, like that's not going to help anybody. So
yeah, man, I didn't even mention this. Austin Shields is he's actually a youth pastor at a really beautiful church in Aledo, Illinois. Austin Shields and we actually used to work together at Life Action. I think we talked about that for a second, and kind of the vision of that ministry. But Austin, he did youth ministry for Life Action before that, before I stepped in. And so then he moved on and started. What'd you do after Life Action?
When I left Life Action, I went back home for 8 months.
Where was home for you?
Texas, Red Oak, Texas, south of Dallas, about 30 minutes or so. And I worked with an autism center. I really tried to find anything. I just needed a job. I didn't have a job when I came off the road. Plus, I had some health issues that I was dealing with, and I just needed to do something. And so I started working with an autism center where they do one-on-one therapy with kids with autism. And, dude, that was probably one of the hardest jobs I've ever done, but also one of the most rewarding. And after that, I got the call to come up here to be in view of a call for a pastor.
That's good.
And man, God has just been so good to me ever since I've been up here. I've only been up here. January will be 2 years. So I mean, within 2 years, I've been at this job for 2 years. Within 2 years, I've been married and moved into a house for the
Man.
first time. So it's
Yeah, dude. Your house is beautiful.
Thank you. It's all up to Bryn, my wife, and she's just such a good decorator and knows
Provider.
where she. Provider. Dude, she knows where everything should be, and I just kind of tell her, I was like, okay, wherever you need it, I'll put it. So
Yeah, Bryn's awesome, man. I want to get her on an episode. We gotta
yeah, we'll
convince her
see.
sometime.
We'll see. Yeah,
So
see if she
hopefully
wants
that
to do it or
happens.
not.
Yeah, dude, that's super cool. Yeah, I'm thankful. I'm actually thankful for your health issues. I really am.
Yeah, because then you got my position after I left.
Yeah, because you were supposed to mentor me, and then you're like, I hate this man.
Actually, yeah, I don't ever want to talk to this guy ever again.
I remember.
That's
I
not
actually
true.
remember you looked at me and you were like, "You sorry son of a," and I'm not gonna say the word on here, but I think he said, "I'll tell you later." I don't even know. But yeah, it was crazy. I remember I remember I got called by my boss at the time, and he was like, "Hey, change of plans. You're not working under Austin. You're gonna take his position."
Yeah.
And then you called me, and I was like, and I remember just being like, "Oh my goodness, this is." Like,
yeah,
this isn't what I wanted, but it actually was what I was, like praying for.
Mhm.
Some people might be like, he was praying. That's kind of like weird, but like, I don't know.
I think that the thing we didn't mention is I didn't really leave Life Action in a way you should leave Life Action. And I felt a lot of guilt about that, but I realized God did a lot of good with
Right.
that decision that I should have left. Usually when you commit to Life Action, you commit a year. And then once that year is up, then you commit to doing a few months at the camp. And with my health issues...
Tell about what the camp is.
Life Action Camp. So Life Action Camp, they do a lot of family camps. They do conferences for churches. They do tons of stuff at the camp, just
Right.
camp stuff. But they also, like, for team members who travel on the road, that's where a lot of your training is done. And so when you, let's say I commit a year. When you start in August, you start in July. And when you start in July, you do summer camp with them doing camp for family camp and stuff like that. And then you train that whole time. You're training from July
It's
to
some
August.
intense training too. It's really crazy.
It's very intense. It's very long. It feels like the summer camp goes on forever.
Yeah.
But you train that entire time, and then you travel August, September, October, November, December. And then when January comes around, they ask you if you're going to commit another year or not, because they need to figure out if they're going to need to find more team members or not to fill your position.
Yeah.
And so when January came around, I just felt like, I was like, I want to come back. Like, I so want to come back. And so
I'm going to pause you right here, actually. When I remember, because my whole thing was like, man, I had done children's ministry. I worked children's ministry for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I don't know, like this, like I knew that it was something I could do, but I was like, I feel like I want to learn more. And I feel like the place I would be able to learn more would be in youth ministry. So I was like, God, would you give me the opportunity to do youth ministry? And I just didn't know. I was like, I prayed for it probably like 9 times a day. I was like, this is crazy. And then you said you were coming back, and I was like, okay, I'm not upset about this. I was just like, okay, God, I feel like this is something I could do, but like, how are we gonna do it? And then keep going.
So you're praying for my downfall from the beginning.
I wasn't praying that you would leave.
I'm just messing.
I
I'm
wanted
giving
you
a
to
hard time.
stay, but I was like, how cool would it be? I was even there was other teams that was like, maybe you could come here.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I remember they were asking like, would you be interested in doing the youth? And you were like, yeah, actually a lot.
Yeah.
Which would have sucked if I had traveled with Life Action again and you were on a different team. I think that would have been hard.
Right.
Just because we became good friends instantly. And
Yeah.
But January came around and I told him I was going to come back again. And when we went on summer break, because we get like a couple weeks off of, or we get that first month off when when you commit another year, you get a whole month off in June, and then July you're supposed to come back. But when June hit and we went home, I can't tell you the pit that I was in, waking up each day and feeling it's hard to describe. It's like a complete sadness, like depression, yes, but also like just realizing that I wasn't doing what I should be doing. Kind of mad about that.
Yeah.
Feeling like God was calling me off the road, and because of my health issues, like I started realizing like I I can't travel again because I don't have the finances to take care of this.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I called Brent, our revivalist at the time, family revivalist, and just told him what was going on. And he said, well, I think you've made a decision, and you got to tell the team. And that was truly one of the hardest phone calls I ever had to make.
Yeah, and it was on Skype, and I was like, this man really just doing this on Skype? I was like, you're this greediest man, you know? Like, why are you? No, I'm just kidding. I wasn't bothered. I was actually like, I remember, I was like, I got to give a fake tear so that I look like a good guy. I'm just kidding.
No, it was really hard. I was really emotional because I didn't want to leave still, but I felt like God was calling me to stop. And well, I remember that I told everybody and was just breaking down, and everyone was really sad too. But then I started realizing that what God had for me was so much better. And we always say that. It's hard to understand, like, in the midst of hardship, how God can use it for better. And I mean, I wouldn't be where I am right now. I wouldn't be married and have my home if I didn't leave, you know?
That's good.
And I mean, God would have blessed me in other ways, but I think when you start realizing that you're not following God's will, there's a lot of things your body goes through and your mind goes through, and that's what was happening to me. And so I didn't realize that not going back was part of God's will. And
Wow, that's crazy, man. Yeah, I would say that that's super understandable. You never, like, sometimes you don't realize what you're missing until you're out of it.
Yeah.
And so even me leaving Life Action, I remember, I know we're talking about this a lot, and this isn't even really what my goal was. Not every, it's like, this is the Life Action podcast.
No.
Wait till somebody comes on, they're like, I hate Life Action. And then they're like, I don't know. They're like, I don't know. I could probably talk about how much I hate Life Action if I wanted to. You want me to?
I mean, it's up to you. It's your podcast.
You're like, you were about to say no.
Yeah, because I don't like talking bad about.
I actually don't hate, like, I don't hate it.
Yeah, we don't hate it at all. There's always, I mean, with any ministry you're a part of, there's always going to be differences and hardships and frustrations. But what I've always learned is, like, when we don't honor them with our words, I think it's actually kind of hurtful and harmful, and it's not what God desires for us. And so, yeah, we can air our frustrations, but I think learning how to love them even when we are frustrated is a big deal.
Right. And that's honestly such an immature thing. Like, people that they leave a ministry or even something that was a part of their life for so long. Like, Life Action put me on. You know, that sounds crazy, but they really, I was given opportunity. I was 19 years old.
Yeah.
And I was a youth revivalist.
Yeah.
Revivalist is way too fancy of a title for somebody that's 19. You know, I was like, a matter of fact, I didn't even like that title because I was like, I sound stupid telling a 16-year-old boy that I'm a youth revivalist.
I'm a revivalist.
I'm just like, I'm a youth guy.
Yeah, that's what I always said. Even at 26, I was like, I'm a youth guy.
I'm just a boy.
I'm a dude.
I'm a dude that be doing duty things.
Okay. Talk about duty things on the road.
Yeah, let me tell you a story. So
My
I was
favorite story of Aaron has.
Duty things.
Yeah.
So, this is a story that happened recently.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't even know. Like, I just, you know that I really don't eat a lot of things. Like, I eat, like, my diet's like peanut butter, tuna, and eggs.
Yeah, pretty much.
Rice.
Pretty much.
And I don't know what got to me, but I was going to take a shower, and I was like, man, you know, like those shower farts? You know?
Yeah, they're worst. They're like the worst farts ever because they
think they're the worst? Yeah, they
smell so bad.
They smell really bad, but they're like kind of relaxing because it's like,
because your body's relaxed.
You're in the shower, you're getting clean. Yeah. You're excreting the air that's in your stomach.
I don't like the word excreting there, but okay.
Well, let's just say air wasn't the only thing that I excreted. I was in the shower.
You pooped in your shower?
Dude, listen, it was an accident. I'm in the shower, and dude, I was like, oh no, like I like.
You pooped in your shower.
I was like, I'm about to fart, and it's gonna be really great. So I farted, and then I like heard it was like a splat, and I was like, not a splat.
No.
And then sure enough, I looked down, and yeah, dude, everything that I started hating myself that day. I don't know.
Did you tell your roommate about this?
Absolutely not. I hope he never listens to this. I cleaned it though. I was like,
You stuffed it with your foot?
Yeah.
You smushed it down?
Smeared it all away.
That's disgusting.
Actually, my bathtub's brown now. I just like
you painted it brown?
Painted it brown.
That's a good idea.
So, Yeah, no, seriously. So that this is this podcast. We're gonna talk about real things. We're gonna get deep. We're gonna laugh because that's who we are. So tell me, like, so you're in ministry. You're in a full time ministry, and I'm gonna really hone in on that because I mean I feel like that's a part of who you are. Would you say that's true?
It's very true.
Yeah. So what really brought you into that? When did you know, like, yeah, this is what I'm gonna do with my life? Because I'm gonna be honest with y'all. This man right here is one of the greatest youth pastors I've ever met in my entire life. He loves people beyond measure. There's not youth pastors out there like this guy anymore. And I told him earlier, I was like, man, it's not even your preaching style because you're a terrible preacher.
I am, yeah.
Joking. But you just connect with people, man. You love people way better than most youth pastors out there. And that's what youth pastors need to learn.
I think, thank you. Thank you for all those compliments. I appreciate it. I don't ever feel that way. Like, I don't ever feel like I'm a great youth pastor. I mean, I think I struggle with a lot with just what God has given me and the gifts that He's given me to use, and because I don't like sharing how I feel like I've improved, because I feel like it's bragging, but it's not. It's thanking God for what He's given me. But yeah, when I was 18, I was in youth ministry. I was a student, and I went to my last ever youth camp, and I had been dealing with so much stuff growing up. Like, my mom divorced twice. I was dealing with pornography. I was dealing with depression, and I was hiding it all. Like, I was really good at hiding it. I think a lot of students and a lot of people are good at hiding sin. And I sat one day just thinking, man, like, I committed my life to the Lord when I was 11, and I haven't really been committing anything. I've been living how I decide to live. And so anyways, I went to this camp when I was 18, and the speaker was like, if you feel God calling you to, he was doing a bunch of like call and response situations where you ask students to respond in a certain way, and he asked all of us to, if He's called you to full-time ministry, would you stand? And I had never thought about being in ministry. In fact, there were multiple times where I decided I don't want to do this. I don't want, like, I'll go to church, I'll go to serve, and I'll do what I need to do to make things right. But I'm not gonna be a full-time person. In fact, I wanted to go into kinesiology, studying sports medicine. I wanted to do graphic design. I had so many other plans for my life. But I was 18, and that call and response came. I stood up without even realizing what I was doing, and I realize now that was the Holy Spirit calling me to action, and actually, in some ways, which is an interesting thought process, of some ways actually forcing me to stand, because I felt such a unique pull to that. And so when I stood, I had no idea what that meant. I had no idea what God was actually calling me to do. I talked to my youth pastor about it, and he was like, well, we'll get you plugged in. We'll get you to start serving. And so I started serving, like, and just volunteer-wise in my youth ministry. And then for a year after that whole thing, like when I turned, no, it's like 19, I just, like, I knew I was called to ministry, but I just didn't want to do it. I was like,
come on.
Yeah, I was like.
Everybody that's done ministry, I feel like at some point has been like, whether they were in it when they thought that or before the thought. Because it's like, yeah, I'm called to love people, but like they kind of like hate me.
Yeah. Well,
that's the hardest thing in the world.
I think for me, like, I was like, I know He called me, but it's not what I want to do. I still had these thoughts of like, I want to do these things with my life.
I wanted to be Hannah Montana.
You told me
I was trying to be the next Hannah Montana.
Yeah, I wanted to work with people and you know, help them recover physically and all that kind of stuff. And so, like, I started doing things.
Yours still was with people. Mine was like, yeah, I'm trying to just be
You're awesome. Just trying to be you're awesome. Yeah, you're just trying to be cool.
Yeah.
And anyways, that year of, I always say, the year of kind of like not knowing what God wanted me to do, I just felt so discontent with everything. I tried everything. I tried college. I tried jobs. I just felt so depressed and discontent. The same thing going on with me in life, actually. Like, I just felt discontent with where He had me. And when I finally went back into kind of like serving a lot, I started realizing that, man, it's not that I get anything out of it. It's that this is where I feel fulfillment. Like, this is where I find joy in anything I do. And I think that's what's the call of ministry. I think so many people think that I'll just be honest, that they're called to ministry, but then they start doing it and realize there's no joy in it. And
that's good.
They don't feel any fulfillment from doing it. And so, and there's, again, you should always be serving. You should always, follower of Christ, you should always be finding ways to serve. But I think there are many of those who are not called to full-time ministry. And that's when I knew I was called to full-time ministry, when I start feeling like, okay, God, I'm praying over this. Is this where you want me? And immediately, like, I just felt so much content and joy in what I was doing.
Yeah, that's good, man. How do you like when you're like you're faith-based, man? Like this, Austin Shields is a faith-based man. So how do you feel? How do you get connected to God? Like, how do you feel connected to God? In what ways? What helps you?
Man, talking to people. I like talking to people.
Yeah.
I think it shows me a lot of who God is.
Come on, so you're gonna be really close to
God. I'm gonna be really close to God after this. Yeah. But also for me, like, of course, getting to the Word is a big one. Praying is a really big one for me. After traveling with Life Action, I realized how big prayer actually is for my life, and how I need it to survive. It's not something that I can just do when I feel like doing it.
Yeah. But
to actually like go throughout my day, I need to be talking to the Lord no matter what. Also, I love. I mean, I'm not a tree hugger or a crunchy man. I could be a little bit, actually.
You're a crunchy man.
I'm a crunchy man.
What is that like?
You never heard of crunchy before?
I think I have, but I feel like that's what people like women put in their like Tinder bio.
That's true.
Like if you're a Christian and you want to subtly throw that in, you say like, yeah, I'm
crunchy.
I'm a crunchy girl.
Yeah, but it just means like I like being outdoors, and when I'm outdoors, when I'm outside, I'm just recognizing God and His creation and thankful of it. And so I like to play disc golf. I know that's not everybody's cup of tea, but that's kind of
not
like
crunchy. That's just dorky.
It is. Yeah, you're right. You're 100% right.
No,
it is very dorky.
So we play sometimes together, and like I really feel bad because I'm always like blowing them out of the water in the games. So I'm
gonna start posting our UDisc scores. Just me and you.
The fact that you just said UDisc just tells me that you grew up in Dorktown,
USA,
Dorktown,
baby.
USA.
USA, baby.
No, I'm just kidding. He's a great disc golf player. You're actually sponsored, right?
Not sponsored. I play for a team.
Okay, you play for a team.
Yeah. What?
It's people like you that make me want to take back compliments.
Good.
I'm just kidding. No, yeah. So he's a really great disc golfer. When we first met, like, what was your first like impression of like what was because we've gotten close, man. Like
we have.
This guy's an accountability partner for me. He'll tell me if he thinks I'm doing something stupid. Like this man,
like
he'll
the drinking and cigarellos. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So like. Even like when it comes to like pornography, this man will just reach out to me and be like, "Yeah, man, I've got your back." Like,
yeah.
I remember I called him. It was a really dark night for me, and he was just like, "I got you, man."
Yeah.
And so yeah, and he even we had a conversation before, and I was like, "Yeah, I'll smoke cigars every random time, or I'll drink some." Like, which neither are I don't think either are bad, but and I've never
and I'm not against drinking at all. Like, I think a lot of people think because I'm a pastor that I'm against it. There's a moderation in everything, and good and I think when it's detriment to your health, there's a reason God says it's not good for you, and so yeah, I'm not against drinking at all.
Right, but the cigars you're not a fan of?
No, because I don't really see any benefit other than the medicinal benefit of it, and you don't need it medically. So, okay. I mean, I could be wrong unless you show me a medical card.
I feel like honestly, I've just always thought like, okay, man, I can connect with people in this way.
Yeah. That's true.
And I've had some really fun conversations. Like me and my buddies will laugh about it. We'll smoke a cigar here or there or whatever, and then it's all good. And I mean, and I also believe that the dripping of dopamine is important as opposed to dumping it. Like humans in general, we'll do anything to get a little fix, especially in this anxiety-ridden culture.
It's true.
I think I'm like the star of the show for the anxiety-ridden culture.
Poster child, huh?
Yeah, dude. it just gets to me sometimes. You know? I don't even know. I just get anxious.
Yeah.
But that's cool. So yeah, when you first met, we were close, man. We got close quickly, I think. What were your thoughts? Did you think we were gonna ever connect?
No, actually.
Okay.
When we first met, I remember exactly because so you had been training at Life Action for a month,
Yeah.
and I was working at a church. I was interim at a church for that whole month.
Interim pastor, right?
Yes, and
awesome.
you were so I hadn't really got to meet any of the new members of the team, but I remember driving up and seeing like we had a team meeting, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna be there, and I said okay. And so there was like outside the tab, and we're sitting there. I just see all you guys like in a circle, and I pull up and I walk up there, and I'm like, who is this lanky?
Hold on, don't call me lanky. I actually
Lanky,
weighed more than.
Dumb,
Okay, that's accurate.
goofy kid.
If you're
Because
gonna say the facts, say them correctly.
when you get
man.
nervous, you get really like you get over the top jokey. Like you
All right, go ahead and just read my mail, dog.
dude. I'm just doing it. Like
That's good.
You put on this voice, and I was like, who is this kid just being a dork, like just a weirdo. And I remember that day they were like, hey, I used to drive the bus too. I said, hey, can you make a Walmart run for everybody and just take them with you? I said, cool. And Aaron gets on the bus and he goes, what up, Mr. Bus Man? And he gets on the bus and he was like, what's your name? And I said, my name's Austin. I'm on your team. He's like, oh, cool. Awesome. And he gets in the back and as he's walking out, he goes, hey, Austin, what do you think if I got a pool for the road? Like, one of those kiddie pools is like $5.
Well, let's also emphasize we travel on a bus and a semi, like
yeah.
And we had lockers. Like if you can fit it in a small locker, that's what you had for a year.
Yep. That's what you had you had that and suitcase. That was about it.
That in a suitcase.
Yep. And he said, you think I can fit it in my locker? And I said, no. I said, that's the dumbest idea I've ever heard. And I'm not joking. He comes back outside of Walmart and he's got this thing above his head. And he's like, look what I got. He's like run up and I remember turning to our team manager, Andrew, and I said, this kid is going to be something this year. And he goes, yep. Or I said something like he's going to be a handful or something like that. And I don't think I've ever regretted making that statement. So
man, you regretted it, or
no?
didn't?
I never did. I never regretted it because it's true.
It is true.
You
man.
are a handful.
I like it though, man.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I would say my 2 years traveling on the road. My first year, I mean, your first year of doing anything, it's just nervous, and
yeah.
I made some lifelong friends in my first year, but I think my second year I started realizing I can open up more. And you traveled my second year, and I realized like, oh man, these are like lifelong friends that I need to open up more to. And man, it traveling with you is so much fun because you just never knew what Aaron Haas and Zach McIntyre and AJ DeWeird and who else could I call out?
There's some people that we travel with for sure. Drew Plyler. You never know what he was.
Something was going to happen, and
he's a heavy metal. I need to have him on the podcast.
You should. You talk about his heavy metal background.
I got to call him up.
They were doing him and his brothers were doing a band for a while, and they got off the road.
Yeah, man, they're awesome. I mean, he's a great musician.
Very good. They're very good musicians.
Incredible guitarist.
That's one thing that we got to tell people too is like the people that we traveled with, dude, like incredibly talented people. Like,
oh, absolutely.
Like you and me did not deserve to be surrounded by these talented group of people because
you didn't.
No, I think you too.
I know, man. They were incredible.
Dude, not only incredible musicians, but just incredible people in general. Like,
I know I didn't because I remember my audition videos, and like I auditioned for the thing, and I think
we found those, didn't we?
We might have.
I think we found them at one point.
I sent them in, and I remember I called the woman at the well a slut in my audition.
No, you didn't.
Yes,
did you actually?
Yes, it was like I was like, this will be really dramatic, and it was just not a good idea.
Yeah, not a good idea.
It worked though. I got in.
I don't know how.
I actually don't
they
either.
Must have been desperate.
They're super. Life Action is some conservative people,
yeah,
and let me be honest,
conservative.
I'm not. You know, I don't look like I'm conservative, and
what does that mean?
I feel like
I would actually say you're pretty conservative, but like you're just wild.
Don't tell me that.
I think you are.
Don't tell me that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get canceled.
I think you already have been the first 10 minutes of this podcast.
Actually, you want to hear something funny? You brought up Zach's name.
Yeah.
We talked about this a little bit earlier. I didn't even finish the story, though. Zach and I, so at your wedding.
Yeah.
And and I'm apologizing ahead of time in front of everybody that's gonna listen to this. Zach and I, we were like, yeah, we'll smoke a cigar and we'll have a drink at your the day before your wedding.
Yeah.
And one drink turned into like a lot of drinks,
Mhm.
and Zach and we're at this trailer park or campground. It was a campground, and Zach pulls up his pop-up trailer, and we had to like crank it up with a hand crank. Like it's this ghetto trailer.
So dumb, dude.
We had to like fix the floors with 2x4s and stuff, and I think he sealed his sink so it wouldn't like drip everywhere. Like he sealed it with like just like I don't even know, like spray foam
Yeah,
or
probably
something.
spray foam.
Yeah,
He loves spray foam, dude.
it's just disgusting. It was great. It was a great place though. Anyway, we're chilling at this place, and it clearly is not the top tier of campgrounds, which
yeah.
I've never seen a top tier campground.
Yeah, I never have either, I don't think.
So, but anyway, so we're there, and we had a couple drinks, and a couple drinks turned into a lot of drinks. I got super drunk, and then I smoked 5 cigars. I just inhaled them. Literally was like, I think the last thing I remember saying was, "Oh, I wonder why we don't inhale cigars all the time." And I was going, and then I was just like
Stupid.
pumping it out, and I remember getting so drunk that I look over at Zach. I said, "Zach, I've got to go poop really badly, really
You
bad."
just told the story.
Did I tell it on this podcast?
Yeah. This exact episode.
Mm. Did I really?
You told the whole thing. And you're pooping and smoking a cigarello, and he would pee in the sink,
No, he paid in the drain.
the drain.
Okay, if I told it this episode, you have to I cannot believe I did that.
We can cut back to another thing.
Oh no, this is cool. No, this is really cool, man.
Did you just have an aneurysm in front of me, like a stroke?
Do you have a favorite color or anything? I could have sworn we didn't talk about that.
No, you said the entire
I
story.
told that on here.
Yes.
Okay, if we
Like,
go back to this and
We'll pause the podcast and you can go back and listen to it.
should I pause it right now?
It's up to you. It's easy to edit.
I don't even think I want to edit it out. I think I just want to pause it and so that we can confirm and so that I can either rub
It's
it
up
in.
to you. Yeah, you can
We're
do
gonna
that.
pause it. All right, we're back. My bad.
What happened, dude?
Dude, I really don't even know.
I think you blacked out when telling that story, and you didn't even realize that you were telling that story.
I meant to tell you that we did that twice.
What?
I was telling you the second time. That was a
No,
different time.
No,
It was a different time we
no.
did it twice.
I didn't get married twice.
That's what you think. You just didn't realize that.
No.
I'm trying to think. Was there any other weddings that I got plastered at? Zach's wedding the day before I had one drink, so it wasn't really
Yeah.
anything.
I heard his wedding was pretty good.
It was a fun
Did you
wedding.
like it?
Yeah, I was the ring bearer.
Were you really?
Yeah, and I dressed up as Leah.
I
for
did
the-
see that. That was funny when he like turned around and you were dressed up in a wedding dress.
He was like, "What are you doing?" And then when he turned around, like he expected Leah's head to be where like my chest is. And as soon as he looked around, I said, "My eyes are up here, buddy. We're not married yet."
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was good. I liked that dress. It was.
I miss that guy. I need to call him and see how he's doing.
I got to get him on an episode. I
That's-
think I talked about that probably too
You
earlier.
did. You already did. Yeah.
I need him and Drew on an episode.
Yep.
Them
Yep.
together would be crazy.
That would be funny
Be
because
really
I think they're very two different people. Well, there's not. I think there's one Zach in the world right now.
one Zach.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nobody out there like Zach.
Yeah.
Nobody out there.
If you know Zach McIntyre, like, it's almost a pleasure, but not really.
Yeah,
Like I could have gone living my life without knowing Zach.
I think so. Yeah. So you mentioned that when you were leaving Life Action, you came into the work world.
Mhm.
Like you just had some really just some depression that was there. What
Mhm.
Tell me about that. What was? How did you cope with that? Like, how did you get over that hump? Is it a hump that you're still like on? Like,
No.
let's hear about it.
I think sometimes you go through seasons of extreme hardship. And for me, like, if you know anything about Life Action, it's all raising money based. And so because that's the case, like, I came off the road with no money, no car, no house.
I had a motorcycle.
You
that
did.
was literally all I
You
could
had
afford.
a motorcycle. That's all you had. Well, you bought that on the road too,
I bought it at my last conference.
which is the wildest thing I've ever heard in my
and
life.
I didn't have an endorsement for it. I didn't have a license plate.
Yeah.
I had nothing.
Yeah. So catch this man on the road.
It was snowing.
Police officers listening right now, catch him driving home.
Yeah. I don't have a motorcycle anymore.
Yeah,
but
you don't.
Keep going.
But when you rely so heavily on I guess the word would be securities like that, like finances, home. And I love living with my mom. I really did. But when you're 27 and you're living with your mom again, like, there's just depression of thinking like, man, I'm just not doing anything right, you know? Right. So I got in this place, to this hump of like a lot of self devaluing, a lot of self pain, realizing or just thinking that I wasn't providing anything, wasn't giving anything to society, wasn't serving the Lord like I should. It was a continual battle with guilt and shame that I had put on myself. But when I came to realize that I could provide a lot, and I do have a lot of value, not based on the things that I do and don't have, but based on the one that I serve, that value, realizing that value changed a lot of my perspective of life, and that it doesn't matter where I am or what I'm doing. If I have to, I'm very blessed, but if I had to live in my car for the rest of my life, it's not that I don't have any value because of that, but it may be down my luck, but my value isn't found in those things. And so that hump was really hard to get over. I went through a lot of counseling, a lot of prayer, and a lot of trusting in God, even though I doubted him in so many other areas. And so it's a hump I got over, but it's a constant battle of reminding myself that that's not who I am, that value that I find from doing something is not worth having. Wow. So it's hard. It's yeah, I'm not depressed anymore, but it's a constant battle of realizing my true value. Wow.
That's good. So, wow, that's beautiful, man. That's really beautiful. Would you say even being at the church you're at now, do you think that you've experienced and understood and found out your value more?
Yes and no. Because of the position I have, there's a lot of value to that position itself.
Right.
But I have to come to realize that though I am a pastor, that doesn't mean that that's where I find my identity and value. Like if I wasn't a pastor tomorrow, that doesn't mean I'm any less of who God wants me to be.
Wow.
And so I think one of the things that one of our revivalist, Brent, on the road would say all the time is people hold positions, power, and what's the third P? Positions, power, and people too closely.
Wow.
And when they start to learn how to give those things to God, it allows you to live a free life, no matter where you are, who you're with, and what you're doing.
Yeah, that's good. And
so it's so interesting being in the position I am, because it does provide me with a lot of fulfillment, like I've talked about before, being in ministry. But being a pastor is not what I'm striving to be. My only goal is to serve God and to love people through that. And sometimes it's hard, because sometimes I forget that. I get in this mindset or this groove of only being a youth pastor, right? That's all I'm ever going to do and going to be. And then I get sad because I'm like, I don't have any goals and aspirations, But it's not that. My whole goal
I'm
is...
a friend to a lot of underage people.
Yeah. The people I talk to the most are the people who say skibbity more than they say anything else, and it's the dumbest thing I ever heard in my life.
They've said skibbity more than they've said amen.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
I don't even fully know what that means.
I don't either, dude. I ask them all the time. They're like, it's just skibbity. And I was like, that's not a definition
That
to
happened
me.
to me, dude. I was preaching. I remember I preached at this church, and we had a group of people, and one of the students came to me after the service, and he was like, dude, you have so much riz when you preach.
Okay, I know what Riz is, though.
I didn't know at this time, though.
Oh, okay.
He was like, dude, you've got so much riz when you preach. And I was like, what are you talking about? He was like, dude, you got so much riz when you preach. And I was like, dude,
awesome.
like, what do you mean? Like, tell me what this means. And he was like, it means that it's like, he said it means that you're like the Rizzler of Oz. And I was like, okay, you can't use the word
In the
definition.
definition.
Yes, it doesn't work like that. And then he was like, well, like, it means that it means that you're like really flirtatious when you preach. And I was like, when I preach?
I hope not.
I was like, this is weird.
Hold on.
I was like, God, I'm really, like, I started like repenting. I'm like, God, I'm really sorry that I'm so flirtatious whenever I'm preaching. I was like, this is not good. I will turn from my ways. I will no longer be the Rizzler of Oz. I will allow you to be the Rizzler of Oz, God. You know, like, I just remember thinking,
Daddy God.
yeah, I was like, Daddy, Papa Master, Mr. Papa John's in heaven. I don't know. Is that wrong for me to say? I said it anyway. I don't know.
But yeah, it just means
Oh, wow.
charisma.
Yeah. So, well, apparently Riz is like some kind of.
It's just charisma. That's the word. That's literally it. When someone has Riz, it's charisma.
Well, I thought that they got the people I've talked to. They've been like, it's like flirtatious. Like,
Yeah,
Riz
because
is
they
more
don't-
flirtatious.
Because they don't understand that Riz comes from the word charisma.
I need to stop getting my definitions from middle school boys.
100%. 100%.
That's like some of my favorite people, though.
Dude, middle school boys,
They have my humor.
they make me laugh harder than anyone else. But
Absolutely.
man, do they make me like, they make me never want to become a father.
Yeah. I'm like,
Like, I love them so much, but then I'm like, man, I could live a few years without ever having kids.
yeah. I'm like, man, you know, I could go a little bit longer. I'm like, sex actually doesn't sound that good. Yeah, like sex without the consequences is what I want.
Dude, they're just yeah, exactly. They're just wild, man. Like when you have to tell a kid to take a shower 14 times at camp, it's like, brother. Like,
Yes,
what
church
are we
camps are like
doing?
where the devil does his like
His
he's
best work.
Like, yeah. It's like God's really moving, but but the devil's like, we're gonna make it feel like it's a bad, nasty environment because it
It's
smells
disgusting.
like old hot Cheetos melting out of people's pores.
Dude, oh my gosh. And most kids understand, but like you just get like it's hard being like, hey, I'm sorry, you smell awful. Like you don't want to hurt these kids' feelings or
Right.
hurt their what's it called?
Ego.
Yeah. But like you gotta tell them like, I'm sorry, dude. You reek. You smell
Yeah.
so bad.
You smell like my butt crack.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't smell my butt crack ever, but it smells like it.
I don't know, man. You might.
Me?
Yeah, I
What
don't
are you
know. I feel
talking
like
about?
you can smell I feel like people can. There are some times that I'm like, I'll smell you're changing clothes or something or about to get in the shower and you're like, ooh,
Okay. I
it
can
smells.
see that. Yeah, it'd be like, oh man, I got some butt sweat on that.
yeah,
bad
like-
boy.
Dude, sometimes I don't know what it is, but my butt sweats more than any other part of my body. It's like sometimes I'll be walking and it'd be like,
Dude,
it'd be sounding like the Roddy Ricch song.
why do you think I wear shorts so much? Because my butt sweats so
Yes.
much.
It's like, dude, like I need to start wearing like a diaper for butt sweat.
Gross. That's
They make those?
nasty.
They need to make
That's
one.
nasty.
I don't think that's nasty. It's normal, dude. I promise it's normal.
No. Yeah, no. I don't think
I
so.
don't know, man. But yeah, I just so back on topic. Like people are like, what is like? It's like this is so
podcast
out.
is all over the place, but
I love it, man. That's
Yeah.
that's my whole point. I just want it to be.
That's
we
how
get
we
real.
talk too.
Yeah. Oh, Austin and I, we will say anything and
Mhm,
everything.
mhm.
Yeah, he made some killer soup tonight.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's Texas chili. Yeah.
Yeah. So it doesn't have beans in it, so it's soup.
Yeah, no. See, chili with beans is stew. It's not chili.
Is that what
It's stew. Yeah.
So Texans say?
Yeah.
Yeah, Austin. So we're both from the South, actually.
Yeah.
We moved up north,
Mhm.
and we ended up oddly moving
Now-
relatively close to each other.
Now we're Midwesterners, which is
Yeah.
the weird. Which I've been told that just because we live in the Midwest, it doesn't mean we're Midwesterners, which makes sense. I would say people who move to Texas aren't Southerners.
Yeah.
So
Now that you live in the Midwest, do you watch like a lot of Hallmark movies? Isn't that what they do here?
No,
Is there more Hallmark movies in the South?
no.
Is that
I
a
would say
Southern
there's
thing?
more here, but I don't watch them.
Yeah. You don't like them?
No,
Does your wife like them?
no.
We've talked about your wife on this podcast, haven't we?
Yeah, a little bit.
I think I got like early set dementia or something.
You really do. I think you have I think you have that Dory disease,
Yeah.
the short-term memory loss.
Yeah, I think I got early set dementia too.
Dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, we talked about her. I mean, we haven't talked about, like, she's from here, and I
What's
met
your
her.
favorite thing about her?
About Bryn?
Yeah.
Man, everything, bro.
Yeah, me too.
Like every good youth pastor, she's a hot wife, man. She's
Yeah.
my hot wife.
Yeah, you're right.
Um,
I'm just kidding. I'm messing with you.
she's gonna be so mad I said that.
Yeah, I shouldn't have even agreed with you because now I look like the bad guy.
Yeah, what the heck?
No, I was like, this will be really funny. I'll get on to laugh, and then you just kept going, and I'm like, people think this is normal now. I abort mission. We're done.
No,
This is how close we are. Like, he was just like, I'm gonna let this terrible comment roll off my shoulders.
that's true. Yeah, there are things that Aaron says that never faze me. Like, I think they started to when I first started, hanging out. But
If you want to piss me off, just like, don't acknowledge the things I say.
I know it makes you so mad.
I'm
when
like,
I don't
did
ever,
you not catch that super funny thing that just came out of my mouth?
Because if I acknowledge it, you're gonna keep doing it. That's the problem.
Even if you don't acknowledge it, I'm gonna keep doing it because it's funny. I think it's just for me.
It's just for you because I have 3 younger sisters, and if I started doing stuff to them and they stopped reacting, I would stop doing it.
Yeah, I just keep going.
Yeah,
Like some people,
you take a joke to the point where it's not a joke anymore. It's more.
it's my new life.
It's the most annoying thing I've ever heard in my life. Yeah.
Okay, man. You're done. You're done.
Podcast is over.
Yeah, I'm actually canceling this entire podcast.
Oh, this whole episode's done.
Yeah. After this, I'm like,
I'd
my
say
feelings are getting
We've been
hurt.
recording for like an hour.
Yeah, almost. Yeah, we'll
Nice.
wrap it up soon, man. Yeah. So you mentioned what was my question? Oh yeah, Bryn. Tell me more about Bryn, man.
So Bryn's lived here her entire life, and we met going to young adults group at my church, and so we sat. I remember sitting in our young adults group, and I had just become the youth pastor. I was like maybe 4 months in, and I had told the leader because he asked me, he was like, "Do you want to lead some young adult stuff?" And I said, because he was kind of like leading some Sunday school stuff, and I told him, I said, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Like I just want to go and have a community and be served. Like I don't really want to lead any of it. He said, cool, okay, I like that. So I said, cool. So I would I would go to young adults Sunday school all the time, and man, it was a lot of fun. And man, this just hot girl walked in, and I'm like, man, she's
My mom did not
gorgeous.
walk in that room.
Oh. I'm just kidding. No, Bryn, she walked in, and I just remember thinking, man, she is just gorgeous. And
Yeah.
then, but because of who I am and because of my self-doubt and insecurities, I immediately shut it down in my head. I'm like, there's no way. Stop playing fantasies. Don't even try.
Yeah. Wow.
So I shut it down, right? The thing I didn't know is that God was working in her life to find a godly man in a lot of cool ways. And she met another guy. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
She settled for you when that didn't work.
Yeah. I was a rebound, and she settled for me. No, I'm just kidding. No, she.
Yeah,
was just-
dating Bryn was really not my favorite.
for
I'm
you.
just
for
kidding.
you, yeah.
No, I said for me, dating her Bryn. It was a joke. because
Okay,
it was
shut
like,
up. Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
It's not funny to
I'm
me.
done. Yeah, it wasn't funny. No, it wasn't.
Uh,
I actually was like, when I said that, I was like, I literally was like, this is not funny. Why
Yeah,
would
it's
I
not
say
funny
this?
at all.
And I was like, this is.
Stop.
I was like,
stop
this is just
talking.
too far. Yeah. So I was like, yeah. So I'm on your side, and whoever said that they were crazy. It wasn't me. I don't even know.
Okay, you done?
Probably not.
But that was really rude of me. I'm sorry.
No, man, it was rude of me.
Yeah. Anyways. So stupid. Anyways, so I didn't realize that God was working in her life, and so she actually approached me one Sunday and said, hey, I want to start serving with the youth. And I said, cool, awesome. And the same thing, I'm like, don't, shut it down in my head. Don't think about it. Don't think about, pursuing her at all. And because now she's going to be a leader. And I was like, I can't pursue a leader. That just looks weird.
Right.
And so we sat down and had an interview, And because that's what I do with each leader. I sit down and have, ones are coming in, I just sit down with them and hear their story. And man, I heard a story.
That was like an extra long interview. You were like,
It
I'm going to bring
was.
out all the questions.
I'm not joking. It was
Who was
really,
your last boyfriend?
It was really long and honestly kind of awkward
Yeah.
because there was another pastor in there and he was asking some questions and I'm like, this is just kind of odd, and it was a good interview. Don't get me wrong. Like
Yeah.
she's perfect for the leadership position. So I was like, cool, we'll put you in leadership. We'll get you involved. And she did. And we just started texting back and forth, like right after that. And I think I don't know if I initiated. I think I did, but she started talking about because I think graduation was just coming up, and I was like, "Hey, do you know where graduation is? I've never been." She's like, "Oh yeah, I graduated here. I know where it's at." And I was like, "Would you come with me?" And just thinking like, "Oh, a leader coming with me to support students graduating, like smart,
Yeah,
I
geez.
truly, again, in my head, this sounds dumb for me now, but I truly in my head was thinking nothing romantic about it at all.
Yeah.
And then she goes, yeah. And then afterwards, we can go to Whitey's since apparently you've never had Whitey's before. And I said, I haven't. So cool. Sounds good to me. And so
Come on.
dude, we go to,
Come on,
we-
man.
we
What is
go to-
Whitey's?
it's an ice cream place up here.
Oh, man.
It's not good as Bluebell. I'll tell you that right now. But
Yeah, they don't even have like
Bluebell up
it's
here.
really just like milk up here with a little bit of sugar
dude,
in
it's awful. I hate ice cream up here, except Whitey's is pretty good. It's probably the closest to Bluebell I've ever had, but
it. Yeah.
it's not as good. Anyways, so we go to graduation, we go to Whitey's, and we're just like sitting and talking the entire time, like having a good time, becoming good friends. And then as we're driving home, she makes a joke of like, she goes, man, what do you think people are going to say about seeing us at graduation together? And I said, I don't know. I said, well, what are you going to tell people? What are you going to tell people what it is when they ask you about you seeing you at graduation? And she goes, well, I've already told people this is a date. And I said, what? I said, okay, let's talk about that. So we really, we sat in my car for about 2 hours and talked about, I told her, I said, man, I would really like to date you. Would you like to date me?
Wow, you really changed
Dude.
the script. It was like, this is
she
just
said
a
that.
cool thing, and
She said that, and immediately I was like, "Doors open, let's go." Ain't going back. I can't stop now.
Yeah.
I got the momentum, and we really we not only sat and talked about dating, and we started dating right after that, but we talked about everything. We talked about what we want out of life.
Wow.
Do we want to have kids? Do we want to get married? It just all literally laying out exactly what we want, because we felt like we're at an age now where for so many years we've been dating and it's just playing games.
Yeah.
And just realized that's not who we are, and we don't want to keep doing that. And so we told each other what we wanted and said, if none of that works for either of us, then let's just stop it now. And man, the Lord brought Brenda into my life in such an amazing way. I can't thank him ever enough, because she's truly the most amazing person I've ever met.
Wow.
Each and every day she challenges me to continue following the Lord and be a better, not just husband, but a better man in every aspect. And so,
Man, that's so deep.
it's awesome, dude.
Dude, I'm so glad y'all connected and y'all are married now. Bryn is an awesome person. I'm
Yeah.
being so serious.
Yeah.
I'm not even exaggerating as I say this. Y'all are some of the nicest people to me, and y'all love me so well.
Yeah, when we bought this house, literally we were walking around and because we were gonna renovate and stuff,
Right.
and we walk into the master bedroom and that's the master bedroom, and then the bedroom next off to it is another extra bedroom, and she goes oh, this will be Aaron's room. She literally was
Come on.
she did, with no hesitation, not a joke, this is where Aaron's gonna sleep when he comes, and I was like,
Man.
perfect. So
Yeah, dude. I love it here. I loved when I would come to your apartment too, man.
yeah,
Y'all are just some real people, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
Y'all are so awesome. Your church
Thanks,
is
bro.
beautiful. Your ministry is beautiful.
Thanks,
Who
bro.
you are is beautiful. I've never seen her teach, but the way that she does life,
Mhm.
you can tell that she loves kids. And
Oh yeah, I didn't mention she's a third grade teacher. And
Yeah.
I think she's got a lot of frustrations with that too, but I think she's truly the best third grade teacher I've ever met in my entire
come
life.
on, man.
And that's not being biased because I'm married to her.
right.
She just is. She's good
Yeah.
at it.
We need people like that. We need good teachers in this world.
Yeah, who
we
loves
don't
the
see
Lord.
enough. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. This is something I wanna ask, and we'll wrap this up pretty soon.
Okay.
But I want to hone in on this. We've talked a little bit about it, and you might be like, why is he coming back to this? I just think this is powerful, and I want to touch on it more.
Yeah.
When it came to your like depression, because that's a very, I would say that's a mainstream word in today's world.
Yeah.
I feel like if you would have said the word depression 10 years ago, people would have been like, you've got a problem.
It's just different. Yeah, it would be more of like,
like you're broken if you said the word depression.
Yeah, 10 years ago, it was 2014, so like I think even back then, yeah, it would be not unheard of, but it would be less of a thing that it is now, like a conversation, I guess.
Yeah, and I'm glad we're using that word more. I think that we don't need to take away the weight of it, though.
No,
it shouldn't be just thrown around.
It's not everything. Yeah, it's not everything you're dealing with.
Depression is a stem of what else is going on in your life.
Yeah.
And so when it came to just that realm of depression in your life, was there ever a moment that like suicide was even an option, or like maybe like drugs were an option, or a substance was an option that you were like, I've got to cope, let me get out of this for a moment?
Yeah,
I feel like that's a real thing, and for me that's a real thing.
Yeah.
I've been there.
I would say at that time when I left Life Action, it wasn't, but I have in the past, like when I was in high school. Man, I don't share this very often, but yeah, I went through a depression that was probably the darkest time in my life, where not only was depression big, but my anger was very high. I don't seem like it now, but I was a very, very angry kid, and dealt with anger issues in a way of fighting back usually. And because of that depression and anger, man, suicide seemed like a true option for me. Right. It seemed like something that was the only way to get rid of the pain and frustration that I was going through with my family, with dealing with pornography, because I think pornography was an outlet of depression. It wasn't the reason to depression. And I think so often it was to take away from the depression. And so I think some people who dive into pornography is because of the depression they're feeling, but also it wasn't helping in any aspect. It was only causing more of an issue going forward. And so I would say early on, that was a big issue for me, was suicidal thoughts and pornography. Yeah. When the depression came in those 8 months out of Life Action, I would say, man, the temptation to go back into the suicidal thoughts was a big deal. And I stayed away from that as much as I could. I would say I struggled with temptation with pornography. I probably fell into that a couple of times back in that 8 months. And I realized that doesn't help me how I see myself, like the value, because that guilt and shame is so big when you're dealing with pornography. You feel like the worst person in the world.
100%.
Even though it may be this high that you have, it doesn't help your identity and how you see yourself. And so it was creating this circle, or this revolution of the decrease in the value of myself, and continuing to go back to that because I felt that. And so because of those things continuing off of themselves, I realized, one, that scripturally I should not be falling into that I need to stay away from that. That's actually committing adultery against my future wife, which is Bryn.
Wow, that's deep too.
But then also at the same time, like, my mental health was at its lowest point in those 8 months because I was continuing to devalue myself and then go back to porn, and devaluing myself and going back to porn. And that revolution of that, and breaking that revolution, allowed me to kind of truly see, okay, I'm not a piece of crap because I keep watching this. I'm loved by the King, and I am his child. And because of that, I shouldn't go back to it.
Man. Wow, that's deep. I love that, man. And I think that stands true for everybody in this world.
Mm-hmm.
That story needs to keep being told, man.
Yeah.
It needs to keep being told. And even as a person that ministers to students and talks to students, that's impactful.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I really encountered pornography, it was accidental, and it was when I was
same for me.
And that's detrimental. That is detrimental. It's almost traumatic.
Yeah. It's like, it was a friend of mine who just was watching it, and I was like, what are you watching? And then I just saw it, and then later that night I looked it up, and that was it. That was the start of I would say like a 6-year-long battle with pornography.
Right. Wow. Yeah,
I was 14
14 years old when he first
when I first saw it. Yeah.
first saw pornography. I think I was a little bit younger, but it just it'll eat your mind away.
Yeah, it does.
And I remember the first time I actually got caught up in pornography. It was like, well, actually, it wasn't even the first time. I got caught with it before in a really disgusting way. I actually got caught with a lot of drugs and stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember later on, I was like, my mom was like, "Here, put your phone." Like I don't even know what happened, but she's like, you got to put your phone in my room. It was like a protective thing we did. I don't even know. So I put my phone in my mom's room, and I knew I was like grounded or something, and I knew that the last thing that was on my phone was porn. And like I was like the stupid, porn addict. Like I didn't delete my search history, And so I was like bound to get caught. I don't know why I didn't. I think it was just because I was a lazy porn addict.
Yeah.
Well,
you're a kid. You were young.
Yeah, I was, exactly. I was young and just stupid and did some really dumb things and got caught with it. And I remember the moment I brought my phone in there, I was like, I might kill myself right here. Because I was like so down deep, and I was like, if I let my mom down one more time, I'm done for her, because I knew the moment she opened it up, it was going to be eye opening for both of us. And I just, I don't know. I even had like if people are on here and even are listening, there's like different things that trigger you in the suicidal part. This is probably a great time to turn this off. I don't know. I just want to let you know. But I remember I had grabbed a knife, and I was like, this is it for me. And I don't know. I just broke down. I remember I was like battling. I don't even know. It was probably demons or something. I don't even know. But it was it was a crazy time. Yeah. It was a crazy time. Now I've seen God move in some crazy ways. Since then, I went into ministry and still made mistakes there. But even in ministry, dude, ministry will hurt you. You can't. Some of the meanest people I've met are in ministry.
So true. Yeah.
There was days after I preached messages where students were giving their life to Jesus that I would crawl up in a ball, start weeping, and be like, I'm gonna kill myself tonight.
It's so hard because being in full-time ministry, I see the value of it and the need for it. But if we make it our God, it's going to let us down and disappoint us every single time.
Come on.
Again, it goes back for me that the value of where we find ourselves. And if we continue to find value in things that are earthly, ministry, we constantly think that ministry is a spiritual thing, and it is. In a lot of ways, it's dealing with spiritual things, and it's always going to be dealing with spiritual things. But it's an earthly thing.
Yeah.
Spiritually, they don't. It sounds weird, but they don't need ministry.
Yeah.
Because it's already holy in the spiritual, and so ministry can fail you in so many aspects of life. And if that is how you find value in yourself, it's going to continue letting you down. And you're going to continue finding value in something that is so finite and disappointing. And so, dude, ministry, when it becomes an idol, because it can be, and I think when you're full-time ministry, it's
at such a young age.
Yes, at a young age.
We both came into it at a young age.
Very much so.
I came in full-time ministry at 18 years old. I jumped in there. I remember the thoughts that on my way up to moving up to doing ministry, and I remember thinking, I'm going to be the guy.
Yeah.
Like when you're watching Spy Kids and you're like,
yeah, dude.
He's the guy.
He's the guy.
And I was like, I'm about to be the guy. And then I was like, not the guy.
Yeah. I
am actually like, I think I need to work on some things before I do this.
Well, and it's when I mean we've talked a lot about this. When you're on stage, when you have that pulpit in front of you, there's this mentality that you have to be a certain thing, right? We've heard so many people, we've seen so many people preach and speak, and just amazing communicators, both of us. And so
we have heard
some of the
greatest of all time communicators.
Oh yeah, and I think when you have that expectation that you have to be that, you miss out on the authenticity that comes from being behind a pulpit.
Right.
And I think one of the best messages I ever heard was given by Del Faisenfeld Jr.
Yeah, great message.
I think it was a week before he passed away.
Yeah, he had the brain cancer.
Yeah.
People might know who that is.
Yeah.
He's a pretty.
Del Faisenfeld Jr. was the person who started Life Action.
He was a pretty famous guy.
Yeah, and he preached a lot, but a week before he passed away, he preached a message on the fear of God versus the fear of man. And you watch it, and he's not bouncing all over the stage. He's not speaking in a powerful voice. He's just speaking like we are now.
To preachers.
Yes, to other preachers, and he's just sharing what the Word has given him. And I think that I can't ever say it. Authenticity is worth so much more than the voices that we try to give ourselves when we're teaching.
Wow.
And so, I mean, Mac would say this all the time. Our mentor when it came to youth ministry.
Yeah.
That you need to find your voice. It's not someone else's voice. It's your voice that God has given you.
Yeah.
And so to be on a stage and to not use a voice, to not be a certain person, but to be yourself, is what stops you from believing that the pulpit, that you have to be someone during the pulpit, and if you're not that person, you're not worth anything.
Wow. That's deep, too. I remember I was sitting at a table with a bunch of pastors. We were eating food. And
as you do.
Yeah, exactly. That's what pastors do, man.
They eat a lot of food, man.
People think that pastors are like, they're
We
always
fast
reading their Bible.
every day.
Dude, fasting is good, but
Fasting's
eating
really
is
good.
really nice.
Oh, it's so nice.
I love to eat.
That's
man.
why we fast, because
Yeah.
food is so good.
Yeah, we fast so that food tastes better.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
No, I joke, but I remember I'm sitting at this table, and when I would sit at tables with a lot of these pastors, I always was like, I'm the odd man out. I'm 19, 20, 21 years old, sitting at these tables, and I'm not even a preacher anymore. Like I'm kind of outside of the realm. I'm in ministry, but I'm outside of the realm of ministry. I go to a church and I serve at this church, and I want to tell you, I go to the greatest church in the world. So I love this church so much. It's Relevant Church. It's in Niles, Michigan. Check it out if you're ever in the area. But beautiful, beautiful church. It's the one place I feel like I really, really belong. And man, it's such a beautiful place. But anyway, I remember I'm sitting at this table, and I normally was like, I would keep my mouth shut when I'm with these pastors and stuff, and mainly because I was like, I look different than y'all. You don't want my opinion. And they were all asking. They were like, I want everybody to go around and answer this question. And when they say that, I'm like, good Lord, great. They're gonna decontinue me after I answer this. But they said, what do y'all think the most important components of a message is? A sermon. I study sermons. And it's not even just because I wanted to be a great preacher. It was because I wanted to be a good communicator. I wanted to be able to communicate well in the one-on-one setting, and I wanted to be able to communicate well from the platform, and I wanted them to co-align. And they asked this, and everybody's answering this question. I'm like, oh, that's good. Terrible. And I'm just kidding. I didn't say that about theirs, but and it came to me, and I was like fidgeting my hands. My hands were sweating. I was super nervous. And I was like, y'all don't want to hear my answer. But I said, I know I haven't done this very long, so I'm not really sure I could be wrong on this. But I believe the three most important, that's the preacher in me. It's like, you got to have 3 points.
Oh, yeah, your 3 points. Yeah, your 3 points.
I was like, the three most important components of a message are vulnerability, relatability, and application.
Yeah.
If you're vulnerable, and this is in normal life, so if you want to relate to people, if you want to connect with a human being, be very vulnerable. That's what this podcast is going to be. Be very relatable. We're going to tell stupid stories twice, like where I got drunk with some friends. Like, this is, and I'm
going to call you out.
I was in ministry.
Yeah.
I think I was in ministry at this time.
Yeah.
I was literally, right after this, I was about to go to a camp to go preach some more. Like,
yeah.
And people are gonna be like, you can't do that. Like, you're not supposed, but like, okay, let's look at the Bible. These people made a lot of, I'm not saying that was right. I made the mistakes.
Yeah. And you apologize, like you've asked and repented from that. Like,
I have. I remember I was like, God, I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
I did it though. And like, I'm with my friends. We're going to do stupid stuff. Like,
Yeah.
It went too far, and that's my fault. I take responsibility. That was my fault. But we're gonna be vulnerable. we're going to be relatable.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want this podcast to just not touch to be those two things. I want us to give application.
Mm-hmm.
So like on these episodes, I'm going to have conversations with people and be like, so how can we love someone better?
Mm-hmm.
Whole premise of this podcast is love works.
Mm-hmm.
If we're not loving people better, love isn't doing anything.
Yeah.
So as we close this out, man, what's your final thoughts?
Mm.
What's your final things? If you could tell the world one thing from your life that you think is impactful or
Mm-hmm.
helpful, let's hear it, man. I just throwing you on the spot.
Yeah, that's good. Man, I think I think love is too complicated, or we make it too complicated.
Yeah.
It's not. And what I've seen with students and what I've seen with people is if you just let them if you just carry an ear
Yeah.
instead of a mouth, if you listen to what they're saying and not hold that against them, or tell them, listen, what you're telling me right now, it's not going to go anywhere, or it's not something I judge. I think that is the truest form of love, is allowing people to just be heard.
Yeah.
And then, I think, again, we make love too complicated. Just be people's friend, man. Like, some people are trying to, like, love people by forcing love down their throats, and what they actually need is just someone to be in their life.
Yeah.
People need people, and that's what God designed us and designed us for, is for community. And so to see love as any other sort of thing is to miss out that, and love can show its ways in many different ways, but the truest form is to just meet people where they are and spend time with them. Yeah. I can't share the gospel with these students by not spending time with them.
Yeah.
I can't, like, one of my favorite things to do, and one of the favorite things that the high schoolers love to do, is just go to McDonald's, because all we have in Aledo is just go to McDonald's. And it's
I joke
truly,
every time I come here, I'm like, people are like, you want to go out to eat with us? And I'm like, oh, to which one of the three restaurants
that are here. Yeah, exactly. And they love going to McDonald's, and just that small 30 minutes that we're at McDonald's is so much more impactful than any 30-minute message I'll ever give. And it's not that the word isn't impactful, because it is. But if they see me interacting with them and spending time with them, they're going to listen to the words that I say, and the things that God says through me. And so, and that's what Jesus did. I mean, we talked about a lot on the road of the disciples, and Jesus didn't just preach messages, but he brought people in with him to do life with him, to see him laugh, to see him suffer, to see him make a tent, to see him cook food. That stuff, that interaction is so much more impactful than any message he ever gave. Yeah. Now, the messages he gave were truth, but the reason the disciples were so big after he left is because of that impact that he had on them. Wow. And so bringing in those students with us, spending time with them, people, not just students, but people, it's hard because it takes sacrifice from you, but it's what Jesus did. He sacrificed himself to have that life with us. And so in the same sense, we have to sacrifice time, money, resources to spend time with people. Yeah. But that's the truest form that we're going to do, is to love people that way.
Man, I love that so much. This is my good buddy, Austin Shields. And my friends, love works. Peace out.